Hello and welcome to the Kaiju is in the Details. I'm Ian.
I'm Haru.
This time we watched the movie It Came From Beneath the Sea. And it sure did come from beneath the sea. 1955, this movie came out. And here we are watching it in 2025. Haru, what'd you think of this movie?
It was alright.
Yeah. Kind of boring, frankly.
Yeah. It followed a pretty predictable plot line.
It was just kind of things happening.
It
It wasn't like bad or anything, which actually is kind of worse.
Yeah, like if it was bad, we could at least make fun of it.
Where's Little Joe the honey bear?
Yeah.
I want giant lizards that are supposed to be dinosaurs. The octopus looks really good. Shame it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it does things, but it's like nothing's interesting. I don't know. Like, how do you make that boring? It's a giant octopus. And it's a Ray Harryhausen again. Like, his effects are good, but like, man, just nothing going on here.
Like, I was more engaged in like the first half of the movie where they were like just in the submarine and they were encountering the octopus.
Yeah, the tension was pretty good there, actually.
And then after they introduced the love interest and after they introduced like the whole octopus and like I don't know, just once they start just focusing on fighting the octopus for the rest of the movie, it's like, okay.
And just to be clear, folks, that is 10 minutes into the movie that Haru's talking about.
Yeah.
There are 10 interesting minutes of this movie. It's an hour and a 30-minute movie almost. I think it's hour 20 actually, specifically. But 10 minutes in, it becomes boring.
Like, genuinely, you could watch the first 10 minutes, fall asleep for the next like hour, and wake up for the last 10 minutes, and you'll see all you need to see.
Literally. Nothing happens. Nothing happens in this movie. I said this is a movie where stuff happens. Stuff doesn't happen. Nothing happens in this movie. Octopus appears somewhere. They slowly work out where to find it, but like not in any interesting way. They're just like, oh, we got a report of something here. Guess we better go there. Okay, we went there. Oh, there's the octopus. Okay, let's kill it.
Yeah. Like,
nobody's ever excited about anything either.
Yeah.
Like the woman screams once. There's like excitement in the submarine whenever it gets shooken around, and otherwise it's always just like, fucking, it's goddamn motherfucking wry humor. It's always just like, wow, that's an octopus. Well, that just happened. It's fucking Marvel movie shit, dog.
Yeah.
But like 1950s style Marvel movie shit where it's like really sexist.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
what's
like,
up with this throuple, by the way?
I don't know. I didn't even pay any attention to the romance plot. Like, it bored me.
I was just kind of fascinated a little bit. Like, not fascinated enough to pay attention clearly. But like, I was paying attention. That's part of the job of the podcast. But I did actually at one point get up, go to the other side of my room and grab a snack and then come back. That's how boring this movie is. But I still had my headphones on. Don't worry, folks. Like, I was kind of like fascinated by the fact that like, so there's this love triangle kinda between this Navy submarine man, this woman scientist, and this man scientist. And the man scientist and the woman scientist seem to be like an item, maybe, but also maybe not. Meanwhile, the Navy man is like pursuing her the entire time, and it's gross. It's really gross. It's awful. I hate it. But like, the scientist man is just cool with it. He's just chill with it for some reason. I can't tell what's going on. It's very strange.
Yeah.
It really seems like a throuple by the end of it.
The whole romance plot, it's I don't know. We've had better romance plots.
Say it with me, commenters. This movie hates women. It really hates women. It hates women who are stand up for themselves, especially.
Yeah.
It thinks women who stand up for themselves suck shit. And only the weird ass scientist man is okay with that. But in the Navy, you don't ask. You just do it. You just do it in the Navy. You don't ask anything. I don't like the 1950s.
Yeah.
I think the 1950s kind of suck.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Kaiju movies to become less sexist.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna wait. You're gonna wait a while. Even the Godzilla ones are not great on that. They're better than this though, but not necessarily by a lot. Well, thanks for listening to this podcast. I think that's all we had to say about this movie.
I've been Haru.
I mean, like, what's going on here? The best part of this movie is the fucking opening credits, which look really cool.
Dude, that was such a cool effect with the coming out of the water and stuff. And like,
yes,
oh my god.
They had a really good screening effect where the credits are coming out of the water and scrolling, and it's nice, and it's high budget, and it's cool. The Ray Harryhausen effects are good. They're cool. There was some screening effects that didn't quite work, but not every movie can be King Kong.
The music was actually kind of nice too. Like during,
yeah, it was like Beast from 20,000 Fathoms nice though.
Yeah,
it was no Godzilla nice or even King Kong nice.
Yeah, it's not gonna be iconic, but it really helps set the tone for the movie and stuff. Like the music during the opening credits hyped me up.
Hype. And then the submarine scene is pretty cool. The lighting in that scene is really nice. I like that. Black and white films can really play around a lot with lighting because it changes literally the colors on the screen because you only have like everything between black and white, like all the grayscale, right? And so lighting is really important, but also you can really do some cool stuff with it. And they actually managed to do that in the submarine scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then never again.
Yeah.
Like I said, the octopus effects look nice. The fucking tentacle, it looks immaculate. They don't really want to show you the full octopus so much. They're a little more hesitant to show that off, but it looks fine.
Mm-hmm.
It just, they don't want to move that whole big thing that much.
The octopus likes to wave at people.
Yeah, it likes to go, hey, hi, hello. Hello, hi, hello. And then people get scared.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just saying hello. So this is yet another one of these movies where it's like the impetus for this is nuclear bombs, but they have like nothing to say about nuclear bombs.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just kind of used as a plot device instead of it being a theme of, oh, this is why nuclear testing is bad.
The movie even kind of comments on that too. Like the scientists are like, oh, well, the reason why this giant octopus appeared now and not any time before now, except for it has appeared before now, apparently Krakatoa also woke something like it up at some point. But the reason it woke up this time is the H-bomb. And then the Navy guys, sorry, Navy, it's all Navy this movie. Go Navy? Question mark. One of the Navy guys is like, well, everyone blames H-bombs for everything these days, so.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, man, they're bad.
That was a fun comment.
Speaking of, at the fucking beginning of the movie, like when they're in the submarine, they're being attacked by the octopus, but they're in like extreme radiation zone or something, and the Geiger counter's going crazy, and one of the guys is worried about that, and the other guy's like, "What, are you afraid of a little bit of radiation?" Like, yeah, yeah, I am afraid of a bit of radiation. I don't want that. He's like, I just got married. I want to have kids, dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh.
You
well,
know,
congratulations.
There's like the one reason you need to avoid radiation is preserving your fertility. Otherwise,
it's fine.
A little bit of radiation won't hurt. Yeah.
Just ask John Wayne. But like beyond that, the movie has no intention of commenting on anything. Every time a character in the movie asks a question, the answer is, I don't know. They're like the Navy guy comes up to them at the beginning of the movie. He's like, what is it? And they're like, I don't know. They eventually figure out what it is because they just like continue researching it. But like later in the movie, when they finally, this is one of those movies, American movies, I swear to God, where the government has to cover up the thing because otherwise everyone's gonna go crazy, go stupid. Mm-hmm. Actually, they don't even explain that either. They don't even make a stance on that. When the scientists ask, can't we just reveal it to everyone? Because in this case, it's not just to the general public, but to fucking Cameroon, because they're talking about like they're investigating the waters around Cameroon. And they're like, can't we? They're like, the Cameroon's going nuts about this. They're getting really upset about this. It's like, can't we just tell them? And they're like, we don't make that decision. Washington does. Okay, sure. Why are they making that decision though, movie? But like, after they finally have to tell the reporters what's going on, the reporters ask, are there more of those? Are there more of these giant octopus? And the lady scientist who the movie is very sexist to says, probably. And then the reporter's like, well, what do we do about those? And she's like, I don't know.
I feel like
the movie refuses to take a stance on anything.
I feel like the movie is just lazily written.
It is. Like it's so lazy.
Like it brings up a lot of points and never starts a conversation with any of them.
It's like if David Lynch, rest in peace, took his approach to people asking what his movies mean to how he wrote his movies. Like someone was like, okay, what happens next? And then he's like, I want to elaborate on that. Elaborate on that. No. It's like this movie doesn't think. They're just like, they are, oh my God, this is the first AI written movie. It is, but like it's basically predictive programming, right? Like predictive, like language learning model made movie, except it's made by a human who's just like, well, I guess what would happen next is that this would happen, and they're not like thinking about anything. They're just like, yeah, well, if that happened, then like this would happen, probably.
Like it follows the plot model of a kaiju film, like we start off with, we're in the ocean, crew encounters some anomaly, and then the first half of the movie they're investigating what is this anomaly, and then they discover it, and then they have to find a way to protect themselves from it or defeat it. You know, that's basically the kaiju plot, like, formula at this point.
Yeah.
And the like whoever wrote this movie basically they took that formula and was just like, I'm gonna make a movie with that.
What a movie. What a movie. By the way, I looked up the ages of these actors because the leading man, our Navy man, looks like he's 5 million years old, and the lady looks like she was just born yesterday. But it turns out there's only a 7-year age gap. They were both in their 30s.
But it fooled me.
Yeah.
Like, I was guessing the guy was probably in his 40s or 50s.
Nope, no, he was like 38, almost 40, but yeah, he was like 38 and she was like 31 or 32, something like that. Which, you know, makes it a lot less gross. Man, back in the day, men used to age so much faster.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. They age like milk, dude. And that's the end of our show.
Yeah.
Gee, oh, they do a fucking title drop. When the guy's asking what the thing is, he says, "What do you call it so I can stop calling it it?" This movie's all about pronouns, actually. When you think about it, this movie's a pronoun film. It's got pronoun people in it. It's got fucking pronouns, and that's based and pilled. Octopus pilled? Haru, I think it's time for us to talk about the thing we always talk about when octopus come up. You know what I'm talking about?
That one scene from that one movie.
You mean from It Came From Beneath the Sea?
Yeah.
No. The thing we always talk about when octopus comes up. I don't want to eat an octopus. I think octopus. I like a squid. Squids are dumb. They're dumb as fuck. I'll eat a squid for sure. Would never eat an octopus, except for the one time I did. But that's because I was in Japan and I just had to have a takoyaki, and then I paid for it. The octopus gods smote me and gave me food poisoning from that takoyaki.
Yeah.
I was deathly ill for several days. So never again will I ever eat an octopus. They're just too smart. You shouldn't be eating them. They're too close to sapient. And that's the one thing we talk about every time we talk about octopus. It's our 2-girl play.
Yep.
That killed like a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Can we like really fucking dig down in this movie's sexism?
Sure.
Because like, I fucking hate how this movie treats women. It is like this might actually be one of the most sexist movies we've watched yet.
It manages to be sexist in literally the very first scene of the movie, where without there being any women present. It is just the men crewing the submarine, and they're talking about like the music that's playing over like the speakers.
Right, yeah, the Hawaiian music.
Yeah, and one of them is he drops a comment about like women dancing to it or something like that.
Yeah. It's a referencing hula dancers specifically. So it's also racist. Isn't that neat? We love to fetishize colonized people's bodies. Hooray. uh, I mean, like maybe because this movie is so full of Navy guys, it was just like really determined to not seem gay, so it had to bash women every chance it could get.
Yeah.
It'd be like,
Yeah,
women, am I right?
like I don't know a ton about like U.S. branches of military stereotypes, except for the fact that it is occasionally memed on Reddit. And if there's one thing that I do know, is that the Navy is referred to as the gay branch because it's a bunch of men stuck on a ship together for months.
Yeah. I mean, historically, navies are pretty gay.
Yeah.
The British Navy ran on three things, which you can hear in the self-titled song: rum, sodomy, and the lash. But no, that is like vaguely true. There is a lot of gay sex happens on ships.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a lot of queerness, but a lot of gay sex happens on ships. But probably not anymore.
You gotta entertain yourself when you're so sexist you will not allow a woman on your vessel.
When you think about it, the Navy is kind of like a gaycation. And you have to submit to the gaycation. Or you'll be destroyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once they get this like they build up this woman doctor, the woman doctor Leslie, I think is her name, Leslie.
Leslie
by
the
way,
lesbian.
The fucking male scientist is named John Carter, and that was distracting me the entire time. Of Mars? But yeah, Leslie is like a a really good scientist. That John Carter says that she's the best scientist, except for one guy, and he's dead.
Yeah.
He was like, except for one guy, and then the guy was like, okay, well, let me get that guy, because like, she was like gonna leave. So he's like, okay, I'll have her out of here, and then I'll get another guy. And he's like, yeah, except for one guy, but I have to inform you, that guy is dead. It's like, okay, you could have saved a lot of time then. You had to be like, oh, this woman's the best, except for a guy who's dead. It's like, okay, great, awesome. But like, she's just like a woman trying to live her goddamn life, and the movie fucking hates that. It hates that she has any sense of independence whatsoever. I think, Haru, it's time to explain systems of oppression. Mm-hmm. So in a society with a gender hierarchy, which is one that we live in, particularly in our gender hierarchy, maleness is not a gender so much as it is the absence of gender, a gender being a label that you place upon someone to put them in a lower slot in the hierarchy. Hence why terms like dude and man and human, that ends up becoming gender neutral to a lot of people. And the assumed gender is he. That's why you have they did it in this movie here. The girl was in like a fucking lab suit, and the guy couldn't see her, and so he was like, okay, we're doing good work. And then she gets out of the suit and she's a woman. He's like, whoa. And he starts like prowling over her. It's awful.
Mm-hmm.
He literally starts like fucking cornering her against lab equipment and shit. It's gross. It's gross. It's legitimately gross.
Mm-hmm.
And so all that to say, this film revels in this gender hierarchy, and is absolutely obsessed with the new woman who is trying to break out of this gendered hierarchy and become more like the gender neutral of man, and is like really annoyed by it, but also turned on by it.
Mm-hmm.
It's real psychosexual shit here.
I mean, there's It's another way that hierarchies are enforced is through fetishization.
Mm-hmm. Which, you know, is why gayness and transness are also uh, treated as issues in this hierarchical society. Like, from one side, a trans man is attempting to assume the gender neutral status of man, and is attempting to transcend their gender hierarchy, their gendered position, into the dominant hierarchical place in society, and that's a no-no. But not as much of a no-no as a person within that hierarchical dominant group trying to go down a step into the gendered status of woman,
Mm-hmm.
um, because in that case you are bucking the hierarchy. A person trying to move up the hierarchy is natural. You should want that.
Yeah.
To a person who is benefiting from this hierarchical structure and is in favor of this hierarchical structure, that makes sense to them. It's not good for them. They don't want that to happen, but it makes sense to them. They can
Mm-hmm.
understand it. They can
Like
comprehend it.
it like they're basically telling themselves, yeah, I could see why a woman would want to be a man.
This is why so many trans men in history are written off as just women pretending to be men to get a higher station.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, some of them might well have been too. That's the hard part about history, is that we don't have clear answers.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the other way around, it's not okay by them. But some of them find it hot.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they can create they create this space in the gender hierarchy, a third gender for them, and that third gender is not quite woman, not quite man, but is submissive to man in the hierarchical structure.
Mm-hmm.
Is inferior to man and woman, which is, you know, a lot of times you'll see a lot of women who are like really transphobic sometimes, like especially like, you know, that's where you get the term TERF. You get this radical feminism strain that is trans exclusionary. A lot of that comes from women who want to have a group that they can be sexist against.
Mm-hmm.
like, like it is essentially trans women to cis women to some cis women, I should say, can be a group that they're allowed, like a group of women that they're allowed to be sexist about. Like they get to have the privilege of a man in that instance against a different group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so that's like that's like where I find this movie kind of ended. There's no trans woman in this movie, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but like this movie has a psychosexual like desire for a strong woman that you can put in her place, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about conservatives, is that they don't want a traditional woman. They want an independent woman who they can force to be a traditional woman, because that's
Yeah.
hotter to them. That domination, that power trip, that's what they want.
Yeah, it's a lot has to do with just power and like the it's like a drug. Like better than sex is just having power over another person and like forcing them to conform to your preferred way.
Yeah.
Like, and it's gross.
And like this is gonna like come from any situation where you have, like, say, a trans man or a woman trying to be just too wanting to live her own life. I don't like
Mm-hmm.
independent, you know, too independent for them, or like a trans woman who doesn't want to be the sexual property of a man. I like, you have to look at, like, for a long time trans women had to lie and some of them were telling the truth, but like trans lesbians would have to lie and say that they were straight in order to get their hormones.
Mm-hmm.
And like part of that is the homophobia, but like the homophobia comes from this gender hierarchy, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fear of the dominant male structure of like, you know, men who fuck men, that's like not okay by them. Trans women who are not sexual property of men, right? Women who don't need men and are fine with on their own.
Yeah, like
But they find it a little hot too, as long as they can subjugate you.
yeah, like it's a fetishization of like lesbianism in a way of like being that forbidden fruit that men in this power structure they see it as a challenge to to try and like because their initial reaction is like, oh, how dare you not be attracted to men, like it's literally your place in society to be attracted to someone who is in a higher power role than you are, and you're refusing that, and then they see it as a challenge to basically fix, like, oh, I can fix her.
Yeah. And that's what makes me so curious about the fact that the other scientist, the male scientist, is just like has like these seems to have these romantic moments with the female scientist. John Carter and Leslie seem to have like relations. They like hug and stuff all the time, and they like talk about going on trips together. And they seem like they're in a relationship until this Navy man comes in and swoops her away. And I'm just like, what's going on here? Is this like some pre-beta alpha shit? But he's like perfectly okay with it, right? There's no
Mm-hmm.
competition between them. He's just okay with it. And I'm just like, that's what's interesting. Because like otherwise, this movie is full of weird conservative masculinity shit and domination of independent woman. But like at the end of the movie, she's kept her independence to a certain degree, and she seems to be in this kind of weird throuple. Even though the movie doesn't seem to like it.
Yeah.
Because the last line of the movie is, "Say, doctor, you're right about this new breed of woman." They talk about this like new breed of woman a lot in the
Mm-hmm.
movie, which is like a woman who likes not being
A
like
woman whose
a property.
a woman whose existence is more than just being like pandering up to men.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on in this movie as far as that goes. It's very strange. I wrote out a bunch of quotes again. Want to do some quotes?
Hell yeah.
Man has learned comparatively little about heaven above and the seas below. That's like the title, like in the like crawl at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like giving a bunch of stuff. There's like a thing that says man has learned comparatively little about heaven above and the seas below. I thought that was interesting. I
Yeah.
kept that one because like thematically I think that's interesting, but it doesn't really come up again. What does the heavens have to do about anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's touching on like the age-old saying of like, we've like we see space as like the final frontier for exploration, but like also actually the ocean is also kind of like the final frontier that we haven't explored yet. Like like anyone who's heard that like phrase or that comparison is like they understand that parallel of like
Yeah.
space with the ocean because both are equally alien in their own rights.
Yeah, it's just like strange that they don't really do anything more about that. It's just kind of setting up the fact that uh, there could be big octopuses down there.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about that?
I do
What if a
think
giant
about
octopus had
that.
a low taper fade? I actually already said a lot of these quotes, so let me move down a little bit. Oh, here's a good one. I'm not going to give you any context for this one. Snow's cold. There's an insightful piece of wisdom from the movie. So in case you're ever wondering, folks, snow's cold.
Yeah.
Snow is cold. The ignition's still turned on. Oh, nobody noticed that. This is like, so they're investigating like a man and wife and 3 kids who are eaten by the octopus. And they're talking to the sheriff, and the sheriff's like, yeah, the ignition's still on. Or they're like, the Navy guy's like, the ignition's still on, and the sheriff is like, huh, nobody noticed that. Hello? You're a sheriff, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? You didn't notice the ignition was still on. The hood of the car is ripped off. You didn't notice the ignition was still on? What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
Here's another example of how sexist this movie is. Little Navy man says, what does what she has to say have to do with it? He's like, he literally says, what does what she says have to say with have to do with anything? I don't give a shit what she says. I'm going to do what I want and make her do what I want.
Women having their own opinions? Not in my 1950s.
To attract the octopus to the surface, they baited the surface with dead sharks. How'd they get that much dead shark? Wouldn't it be easier just to have fish? Regular fish? Like, I know we've killed a lot of sharks since then, so probably the population's decreased, but like, really? Sharks specifically? And then I already said all my other quotes that I wrote down.
There was one quote. My favorite quote in the movie was early on when the guy was basically trying to talk her into, like, was trying to recruit her to help them out, and she says, I feel like I'm being drafted, and he says, you are.
Yeah.
That was a good line.
This movie uses a lie detector at one point. For those who don't know, lie detectors don't work. They're complete pseudoscience. Made up bullshit.
Yeah, like, from what I understand, what they're supposed to do is, like, they're supposed to, like, measure your physiological reactions when you respond to a question, and, like, if like your heart is racing too much, or like your muscles are twitching, then that it indicates that what you just said is a lie or something. That's my understanding of them. And like, it is too it's just too unreliable, because talking to anyone when they're hooked up to a lie detector, like, that person might just be having an internal freak out about being interrogated. Like,
it's really easy to get false positives on a lie detector, and it's also really easy to fool a lie detector.
mm-hmm.
It goes both ways.
If you're good at having a poker face and, like, lying through your teeth, then yeah, you can absolutely fool a lie detector.
But yeah, it just briefly showed up, so I wanted to go ahead and mention that. Anything you got, Haru? Like, I'm really don't have much else.
One thing, when they were talking about when they were mentioning how the animals have a Geiger counter, like a built-in Geiger counter.
Oh yeah,
and they
I
were
forgot about that.
And they were testing that with the octopus and dumping fish into its tank.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was initially confused as to what point they were trying to make with that exactly.
Yeah, they just dump fish in there.
Like,
yeah, man, octopus will go after fish. You're right.
yeah.
It really does seem strange. Also, like, oh man, animals just naturally have a Geiger counter in them. That's so true, movie.
Yeah.
Also, radiation makes animals hungry. You're so right.
Hmm.
And electricity makes them attack things. That's the way animals work.
Uh-huh.
Like, what the fuck? Uh, it's really insane stuff. Back to sexism for a bit. They have the woman seduce a man to get the story out of him, which is awesome.
Hmm.
And also, they had like that whole conversation about strong women, about how Dr. Leslie is a strong woman, and then like the octopus shows up and then she screams. Like that's like that's the only thing she does is scream. Granted, they all run away at that point. They just like leave the sheriff to be eaten. It's too late for him. They get the fuck out of there. It's just you might notice that like we haven't really described things that happen. We've described scenes that like are like just like a lot of talking, and like yeah, that's the movie. It's a lot of talking.
Hmm.
The movie is a series of talks.
I want to rewatch King Dinosaur.
Really?
That
That can't be true.
that one that movie was actually like fun, and like I was engaged with making fun of it. This movie I just is just a snore fest.
Oh, Joe's here. Haru, Joe's here.
Hi, Joe.
Well, Joe, what did you think of It Came From Beneath the Sea? That's really fucked up, Joe. You... Look, we didn't like the movie, but you can't say that about the director. Okay, Jesus Christ. Joe, get out of here. Fuck. He's so testy after the cocaine. This movie is just worse Beast for 20,000 Fathoms. If you like want to watch this movie, just watch Beast for 20,000 Fathoms and then like watch a highlight reel of the movie on YouTube or something. It's basically the same movie except better.
Yeah, like one thing that this movie made me like, or kind of like just a thought that floated into my head as I was watching the movie is like, yeah, you know what? It is actually really common for kaiju movies to say the kaiju came from the ocean because like so much of the ocean is unexplored, and also like you can't see under the ocean, so a beast like this could go undetected for a while before it finally ends up on someone's radar, like quite literally.
Mm-hmm. And they used the excuse of the giant squid, which had been recently discovered.
Yeah. So like, you know, Godzilla comes from the ocean, and you know, the octopus comes from the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, just we've had a lot of our kaijus have come from the ocean.
Or
Like
ocean pilled.
the alternative be like basically the top two places that a kaiju would come from are either the ocean or some unexplored or untouched land that people from civilized society, quote unquote, uh, came to for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Well, luckily next time that's not going to be the case. Yes, next time we'll be watching The Half Human.
Ooh.
We're going back to the Himalayas, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
We're going back to Japan too.
Are we gonna be watching the sequel to the Yeti movie?
No, it's much better than that. We're watching another Ishiro Honda movie.
Ooh.
It's a Ishiro Honda Yeti movie. So that should be fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, folks? We love Ishiro Honda. We love Yeti movies.
Yeah.
And then we'll be watching the movie again, so hopefully it's a good one. We got another American recut to watch, so that should be interesting. A brief respite from these American 50s sci-fi movies, because holy moly, do these suck.
Yeah. I'm also hoping we'll have a lot less exposition.
Oh my god, if I have to watch another movie with a goddamn like 10-minute long exposition scene at the beginning covered in stock footage.
I will say this movie was better about the exposition than King Dinosaur.
Yes, for sure.
Because
it wasn't using as much stock footage either.
At least with this one, it was like they kept it concise. You know,
the difference is this one has a budget.
Uh-huh.
King Dinosaur was made with a couple of shoestrings. It came from beneath the sea as a fucking Columbia Pictures movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has money, not a lot of money, but it has some amount of money. It has Ray Harryhausen money, although not full Ray Harryhausen money.
Some of that money was put into making the opening credits.
Yeah. But some of that money was taken away from the octopus. Here's some fun facts for you. They only had enough money for animating 6 of the 8 tentacles, so they had to eliminate 2 of the tentacles.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed that, but yeah, it's a sextopus, not an octopus.
I think the word you're looking for is sextopus.
That's a James Bond character, isn't it? For the sand scenes, they just like dumped a bunch of sand in a fucking soundstage and then used rear projection. And apparently the actors kept fucking sinking into the sand. A more extensive love scene had been written for the characters, but was really literally torn out of the shooting script to keep principal photography from going over schedule. Thank God. Ugh. Gross. I like that it was literally torn out, though. Just like literally ripping the pages out. That's awesome. Based.
God, I wonder if that hadn't happened, would this movie be sexist?
Probably. They did shoot inside an actual submarine, though, which makes it even more impressive that the lighting was good.
Ooh. Also
very funny that shooting inside an actual submarine was them keeping shooting costs low. It's easier just to get an actual submarine than to make a fake submarine set.
You know, like I could see that in a way, like, because they're probably just renting out the submarine instead of having to like build an entire submarine set from scratch.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this film had 10 times the budget of King Dinosaur.
Nice.
King Dinosaur had 15,000. This had 150,000, which actually
is a lot of money.
Jeremy in the comments gave a conversion rate. I have to go check that real quick because I want to give you the accurate number here. $15,000 in 1955 is about 177,306 in 2024 money, which means it's probably like twice that today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we first of all we cannot afford to make a movie Haru, at least not a King Dinosaur. And we definitely can't afford to make this fucking movie, which apparently would have cost which apparently cost in today's money $1 million, $1.77 million.
That's a lot of money.
That's so much money.
What did this movie do at the box office?
$1.7 million, which means it would be $17 million in today's money.
That's a profit.
Yeah, the movie made its own inflation rate. Like to modern day in profit. Isn't that crazy?
That's an investment.
Oh man. Apparently it was a double bill with Creature with the Atom Brain. I love 1950s sci-fi movies, dog. They have the stupidest premises and titles ever. It's so cool.
You know, it's also like, in a way, there's kind of like this nostalgia for the themes of in sci-fi in the like 1950s era, because like, I don't know, today these days with everything is about like time travel or like or just it's basically Star Wars or Star Trek or like something involving space and space travel or time travel or like you know, we get all the convoluted sci-fi because we're all trying to do something that hasn't been done before, or like do a twist on something that has been done before. But back in the 1950s, you know, they like sci-fi was you could just basically go like, yeah, mad scientists did an experiment and it created a monster. That was about like half of the sci-fi movies.
This one, they didn't even create a monster. It just there just happens to be one down there already, and it just woke it up and made it hungry. Hi, hello, I'm hungry. Please, let me eat you. Thank you.
They fed it some H-bomb radiation.
About to feed it little Joe. What a movie. I just like, man, it's just like, it's just not fucking good, dude. 50s sci-fi is so hit or miss, and man, when it misses, it is a big miss.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of baffling in a way. It's just like, did they not know how to make a good movie? But no, they make good movies back then, right? Because Ishiro Honda can make good movies. Surely Americans can too.
Mm-hmm.
Surely. I mean, like King Kong was good, and that was like 20 years ago in our timeline.
Mm-hmm.
It has some rough parts, but it was a good movie.
I think the reason the 50s had shadier movies was like, for one, anti-communism, for two, anti like
Thought.
yeah, like basically
maybe
like a counter movement to the modern woman movement.
It's entirely possible that all these movies are so bad because all the people who are good at making movies were busy with McCarthy bullshit.
It's possible. Like, they were so busy making propaganda that we got the B-listers.
I mean, granted, like a lot of that stuff is gonna be a little bit later, just a little bit though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure a lot of that stuff is once you start actually getting color films. Although this is like, we're in like the transition point, so like actually, I think it might have a colorized version, but this is like when we start to get films that like very shortly afterwards get colorized versions, which I think is interesting. I don't know, it's not super relevant, but like we're not going to go and rewatch them in color. I don't think the color's going to add that much to this movie.
I want colorization in the form of Godzilla.
No, you don't. I know your ass does not want that.
I just want my psychedelic movies, please.
Did you know that there was a fucking 4-issue comic book miniseries based on this movie.
Really?
It's called It Came From Beneath the Sea. Again. It was made in 2007.
Okay. Interesting. So this movie has not been forgotten.
There's a scene from this movie that plays in Godzilla 1998. Like, that is stock footage. It's like on a TV.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's watching it. There's a theatrical poster for this movie in The Mitchells versus the Machines, which, from what I heard, was a pretty decent animated movie. I'm sure someone in the comments is going to be going off about that movie now that I've mentioned it. And in The Big Chill, 1983, William Hurt's character is watching it while talking to someone else. This has also a clip from the film was used in the second episode of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, which also features a giant man-eating octopus. So this has a little bit of legs to it. Tentacles, you might say. Oh, thank God, we're not the only person who thinks this. I was just like looking. Here's someone saying most of the film is told in a solid, flat style that seems more like an army training documentary than a dramatic film.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that one has to plod through 3/4 of the film to get to the monster sequences. Certainly, when the climactic scenes of wholesale destruction do arrive, they are great. I mean, they're only okay. I feel like they're not particularly good wholesale destruction scenes. If you've seen any good wholesale destruction scenes of the time period, even like how do you go from watching Godzilla to watching this and like think that this is good in any conceivable way? And the answer is that they didn't watch Godzilla. They didn't watch Godzilla. Well, I think it's about time to call it there, Haru. Unless you have anything else to say about this movie, because I really think it's kind of dead in the water.
Just like that octopus.
Ba-da-ba. They kill it with a harpoon. Like a jet-propelled harpoon with an explosive attached. What the fuck?
I guess my last, my final thought is
Make better movies.
Yeah, they should make better movies. But yeah, my final thought is, I think it was a kind of cool effect when they shot it.
Yeah. It's the effects are good. They're not like peak perfection, but they're really solid.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do that well on those effects.
Yeah, well, you can see the budget in this movie.
Yeah, it is certainly hemmed in a bit from some previous works that Harryhausen has worked on, like Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Just watch Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Mm-hmm. It's literally just a better movie. It's with the same similar shit. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you taking your time to listen to us whine about a movie that you didn't watch. You can, of course, support the podcast by giving it a review, sharing it with your friends, leaving a comment, like, sharing, subscribe on the podcast YouTube channel, Ian. Any of those really helps get us out to other people and helps keep us doing this show. Haru, where can people find you? I
am Haru Hayes, a puppy girl VTuber that streams on Twitch. I have a presence on Blue Sky and Discord. And on YouTube. Such cases. And so, yeah, just search me up, Haru Hayes. You'll probably be able to easily find me. Yeah. I stream things occasionally.
Wahoo! Yippee! Wahoo! Yippee! Yippee! Wahoo! You can find me at Empire Iain wherever Empire Iains are sold. That includes every website. If I'm on there, I'm the Empire Iain, and that's where you'll find me. You can also find me at Tomb of Empire Iain on YouTube, where I put that's my second channel, and then Ian is my third channel. I have too many channels. That's how you can find me. All right, let's get out of here. Next time is The Half Human, and it's going to be a fun time with no bad vibes at all. Let's say goodbye to it. This Say goodbye to it. What do you think, Karu? Should we say goodbye to it?
I think we should say goodbye to it.
Sayonara, it.
Sayonara, it.
Came from beneath the sea. Stupid.